Only one spot remains in the playoff field. It is the Memphis Youth Movement against the veteran leadership of the Warriors. Ja Morant might be one incredible play-in tournament game away from the playoffs. Meanwhile, Jaren Jackson, stout and profile.
I see you, nephew. Staying alive, staying alive.
Don't let the chest hair out now.
The question is, can they stay alive against Steph? They couldn't pull it off on Sunday. We'll see if it will be Grizzlies or Warriors with the last spot in the playoffs.
Winner survives and advances.
Let's get down to business. Give you one more night.
His three is good.
I like how we've been able to adapt and get to this point in the year where we have something to play for.
Let's get down to business.
Steph Curry is all-time amazing, but how much further can he drive the Warriors into the postseason? Plus, the Grizzlies are young and hungry to prove themselves tonight. Who will lead them past the Warriors? And a deep dive on the series and players that will be the talk of the first round. Who you got on NBA Countdown right now?
What a ridiculous finish.
The brilliant shooting of Steph Curry continues.
We know it's at stake. Got to be ready.
We got a lot of doubt down there. We got a lot of belief.
Welcome to NBA Countdown, presented by Mountain Dew.
Oh, we believe, Coach Kerr. Welcome to NBA Countdown. We're coming to you live from the Seaport District of New York City, brought to you by Chase. I'm Maria Taylor, alongside Adrian Wojnarowski. We've got Jalen Rose here with us. We got Jay Will not wearing a turtleneck, but supporting the group with a tie.
Nice introduction, way better than before.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
Okay, that's what it's all about.
I'll take that.
And the reason why I came with a little love today is because we get to finally find out the entire playoff field. Look, the Memphis Grizzlies trying to make the playoff for the first time since the 2016-17 season. And obviously the Warriors been there, done that, trying to make it for the 8th time in 9 seasons. Let's start with the star power that would be Steph Curry. Obviously, he was able to help his team to the win on Sunday. But on Wednesday against the Lakers, it was 37 points, a LeBron James go-ahead 3, and a triple-double from LBJ. Too late for Steph Curry. How many does he need to have tonight to get the win against the Grizzlies?
That same number. Because against the Lakers, 37 wasn't enough. But tonight, 37 will be enough for Steph Curry. And he's been fantastic this year. I had him third in my MVP voting. He did a terrific job of keeping this Golden State team not only relevant, but now they have a legitimate chance by leading the league in scoring to be in the playoffs. What a phenomenal year by Steph.
The way he's carried this team on their back, I mean, think about Oubre being out, obviously not having Thompson. But, you know, look, I think they're going to get the win tonight. Like, I cannot go against Stephen Curry anymore. I mean, with the performances he's had this year, like, his game has elevated to a different level.
Yeah, we've been counting him out, maybe the Warriors, but as soon as he started counting up those points, obviously he's won the scoring title for the second time in his career. And then we have a Memphis Grizzlies team here, Woj, that has a winning record for the first time in 2 seasons. I mean, they have to be excited about where they sit right now, just outside of the playoffs.
Yeah, this is a Memphis team that is ahead of schedule, especially when you consider that their second best player, Jaren Jackson Jr., missed almost all of the regular season. You know, they held him out coming off of that meniscus surgery in a rehab to get that knee fully healed. He played only 12 games this season. And in that tough Western Conference, the Grizzlies are still here, and they have been remarkable under Taylor Jenkins. You know, their young head coach has really shown himself, to really be one of the very best young coaches in the league, and I think this is a Memphis team obviously built around Ja Morant, but moving forward with Jaren Jackson Jr. having an off season and then coming back next season, this is going to be a team that I think is going to make a jump in the Western Conference.
Yeah, we say it's a youth movement because Steph Curry alone has more playoff experience than this team, the Memphis Grizzlies, and obviously Taylor Jenkins in his second season has done a great job getting the Grizzlies to this point. Ja Morant, we've been waiting for the Ja Morant-esque game. I think we've got a sign that it might be coming to you here tonight. He's focused, okay? He's ready for whatever's coming his way against the Warriors.
I know he listening to that J. Cole, and I know he not ready for it to be his off season. So therefore, Ja Morant need to be on his Grizzly tonight.
Tell him, 95 South.
The Golden State Warriors will host the Memphis Grizzlies tonight, where the winner will take the 8th seed in the Western Conference. Steph Curry's been on a tear this season and is officially an MVP finalist, but he even can't do this alone. even he can't do this alone. Rather, Stephen A., who needs to step up and help Steph tonight?
I'm going to say it's Andrew Wiggins, and I'm going to base that, Max, purely off of what I saw the other night against the Los Angeles Lakers. We all know that I've been on the record stating that I wouldn't give him away for a box of cookies. That's how I felt about Andrew Wiggins, because to me it wasn't about his talent. He could always play. It was the want-it factor that was so glaringly missing time and time again. He'd have a big game and then he'd disappear for 5 or 10 games. Or he had some of the most, what I consider some of the most meaningless 18-point per games that I've ever seen in my life. I mean, he'd finish a game with 18 and 20 points and you barely noticed it, for crying out loud, because it never really came when it really, really mattered. That was not the case the other night. The other night I watched this guy show up on the court and defend LeBron James a lot and was all in him. And I give him a lot of credit for that. Plus, he put up 21 points. Plus, he shot decently enough from the field. And I look at him, his size, his athleticism, he could do some things. Andrew Wiggins, if he really, really committed himself, I think he can average 25 a game and be a secondary offensive option. I'm saying for the purposes of tonight, that's exactly what he needs to do for one more night. He needs to go out there and put up 20 plus. He needs to help defend, whether it's Ja Morant or Dylan or anybody else. I think that's what he needs to do. And I think I'm going to give him a shot at doing it. I believe he is going to do it, and he is going to help Golden State win tonight's game, because it's going to be real tough to beat Memphis.
The answer is Draymond Green. I know why you say Wiggins, because when we say help Steph, what are we really talking about? Like, our minds immediately go to offense. But even as you pointed out, Draymond's going to have to score. He's even there. He's going to have to contribute there in some kind of way. But defensively, he was so good in the first play. And Stephen A., just like the Lakers' size that you referred to in our last segment was obvious, right? The Lakers' size kept them in the game when they weren't executing on offense, and Golden State was. And what counteracted the Lakers' size, I think more than anything on the Golden State defensive side of things, was Draymond Green. He is I keep saying Ben Simmons is the best defensive player in the world, and I believe that. And then I think about Gobert and Embiid, and too often I leave Draymond off that because he's not so young anymore, but he is definitely deserving of that kind of consideration. And he's going to have to do that because Stephen A., in the play-in game, Grizzlies Spurs, who was the most important offensive piece on the Grizzlies?
Ja Morant.
What's that?
What are you talking about? Who's the most important offensive piece?
No, Ja Morant was not the most important offensive piece on the Grizzlies. The center was the most important.
Oh, Valanciunas, he had 23 and 23. I get that.
Valanciunas was a load down low.
Right.
And Draymond is going to have to do a job on him, or they're not going to win. Like, Draymond's defense is going to be key in this game. And when I think of overall team-wise, who needs to be Steph's main support, it's Draymond's defense. And as you pointed out yesterday, he got to chip in a little bit offensively, too. It can't be no points.
Well, listen, Kevin Looney and others, they got to do something to help him. Valanciunas is a big, big boy. That's a lot to ask of Draymond Green. I mean, when I think about Valanciunas, other than the fact that he looks like he and Travis Kelce damn near look like twins, for crying out loud. Other than that, when I look at Valanciunas, the one thing I think about is Tyson Fury. Just a big tub of lard just leaning on you, and he can play and move and all of that stuff. I'm not saying it insultingly. I'm very complimentary of Valanciunas. I like him a lot.
He's just a load.
But he's a load. But I will tell you this. Here's the one thing I do want to say about Draymond Green, because I love the brother. You cannot go scoreless. And I've said this before. You cannot go scoreless like he did the other night. And this is the thing. As we watch him with this three-point shooting, Max, because they leave him open now, over the last several years, 3 years and counting, he's at 28, 27.9, and this year at 27%. He's teammates with two of the greatest shooters that has ever played this game.
Yeah.
And I'm going like this. Look, man, you got everything else. You defend. You're smart as a whip. His basketball IQ is off the charts. He's an elite defender. He's a great point forward, a great assist provider. His chemistry with Steph Curry is spectacular to see. All of those things are true. But you got to Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, they got to get Dre on the court and help him make some of those threes, man. They got to work with him. Because let me tell you something. Next year, they going to the conference finals. And God help the basketball world. I don't give a damn if you got Kyrie, KD, and James Harden. God help the basketball world if Draymond Green gets a jump shot.
Right. Well, here's the thing.
If he gets any kind of jump shot with Klay and Steph.
What masked Draymond's decline as a shooter was Kevin Durant's presence, because you didn't really need it anymore. But people forget, you're right, the original 5-out death squad was Draymond at the 5, who was shooting and hitting threes at a real good clip. I think it was at like 38% that year because of the spacing Steph and Klay gave.
2015, 2016, 38.8%.
38, and then maybe it was 33, but it was still respectable. That's what made it the death lineup. That's why you could play legit 5-out, right? And then Dre can also make decisions with the ball and get you into the offense, and Steph can play off all those things. That has not been the same Draymond Green from the outside, and as a result, Kevin Durant masked that, because when Durant's on the floor, it doesn't really matter. But now it matters more. About this, we're on the same page. He can't wind up with 0 points. He's going to have to be Steph's main support, certainly on defense, and is going to have to contribute something offensively.
10 to 12 points. 10 to 12 points. Draymond Green, that's what he should be averaging. He should be averaging 10 to 12 points a game.
Yeah, there's no